Okay, so I have mounted this in the Lockheed. I started to take some pictures of it and decided it was kind of pointless because the more that I got involved in this, the more disappointed I am becoming. So essentially what this comes down to is that you're paying $1,500 for a device that is smaller than an iPad, thicker than an iPad, has the screen resolution of an iPad that was built in 2001, and doesn't really do half the stuff that Garmin Pilot does. You can't update your Garmin instruments with this. You can't, the database updates you have to actually buy every month. So by the time you get through a year, you're going to spend more money for updates on this than you would if you just bought Garmin Pilot and got free updates. And the biggest problem is that Garmin sells the GDL 51, which is what I have in the Lockheed. I've got the GTN 650. I've got a GTN 750. I've got Garmin 430s and 530s, which are kind of irrelevant to what I'm about to say. But all of those things update off of my Garmin Pilot app, which works really well. But in order for me to update them, I'm still going to have Garmin Pilot, which means that I'm going to end up having to spend more money to keep this thing updated. I'm going to spend again the same money to buy a Garmin Pilot so that I can actually update all of my instruments, and I've really gained nothing at all. The biggest thing, and it's the showstopper, is that this thing can only connect to one Bluetooth device at a time. So in order to connect to my XM Weather and to the Flightstream that's in Lockheed, this can't do it. So I either have to hardwire this into the airplane, which I really didn't want to do, or take it back. And I've kind of decided that I'm just going to take it back because it's kind of crazy. I could buy 2 iPads for the amount of money that I spent on this, and both iPads are more functional than this. So it's kind of crazy. I'm just going to have to figure out some way to deal with my keyboard, when I'm clicking on stuff and typing on stuff. I may try to put a little bit bigger iPad in the Lockheed or something, but I'm really disappointed in this for the amount of money that we spent to get it. It has half the features of Garmin Pilot, and it's kind of crazy. Only one Bluetooth device, and there is no way to get around that, and they don't even care, because I spent some time on the phone with them as well. Another example is the wireless connections that are on here. I needed to change the DNS settings on it, but when you go into the Wi-Fi, there's no way to get to any of the details on the thing. So you're really just stuck with everything. Bluetooth also doesn't pick up the Flightstream Bluetooth connection at all. So I don't know if it would ever even work, even if I wanted it to. So it's just, it is what it is, but I've kind of decided that this is not worth $1,500. I really wouldn't recommend it to anyone, because for half the money you could get an iPad mini and a Stratus, throw it up in the window. Because even with this, if you're going to have AHRS or ADS-B weather, you still got to have another device to connect to it, because it doesn't do that stuff by itself. So it literally is a smaller, thicker, heavier iPad mini, and you're still going to have to, and half the functionality, and you're still going to have something else to go with it. So do I recommend it? Absolutely not. And I wouldn't suggest anybody purchase this at all. If you're interested in the quality of it as far as dropping it or anything like that, just buy you a case for the iPad. You can get a case with a fan in it and still cost a quarter of what this cost. So that's where we're at.